for informational purposes only. So we will turn it over to, we'll turn it over to you, Glenn.
Good morning. Is this on? Good morning. I was reading that you should have a backup plan, so in case the overhead doesn't work, I'll be talking from these slides you see here. So it's also always good to have good news for the CFO to report, and I have some good news for the board this morning. First of all, I want to start off with our staffing. We are unofficially up to staff in the finance department. We have a new accounting manager, Myron Fleming. We have a person acting in the senior accounting role, who is Justin Meadows. And we have Lanita Walker, who's with us, who's actually with Robert Hack, but all of them have done a tremendous job in helping us get up to snuff and stay that way. So what you see here is a result of the hard work that they've done, and I just get opportunity to present that to you. So the first thing I want to bring attention to is, you've seen this chart before, is working capital. And the reason why we keep showing this is because working capital is really so vital to the operations of organizations, because if you get low in working capital or run out of funds, you actually shut down. So the key to staying operational and staying in a good, strong financial position is to have a good working capital position. So I've always thought a picture was worth 1,000 words, and therefore, instead of looking at the numbers at the top, we can concentrate on the chart at the bottom. And it's simple: down is bad and up is good. So if you see here, and I think it might have cut off a portion of the chart here, but you can see it on the screen. Our working capital back in 2016 was pretty strong, but through whatever reasons, and I don't try to go back and determine what decisions management had to make back before I got here, but you can see a drastic decline in that over the years. However, it is good to note that that trend was reversed, and you see an upward trend over the last several years, including the years that Director Shaw came. If you look at the screen up there, you see that it's up around $20 million, around $18 million in current assets, and then the working capital position is there about almost $16 million. So it's good. And one other thing about that is we spend about $3 to $4 million a month in payroll and other expenses. So this working capital should be able to take us out 4 to 5 months, which is pretty good when you look at organizations. When you can say, if we don't get another dime in after today, we can actually operate for another 4 or 5 months. That's pretty strong. So we want to highlight that and keep our mindset there, because that's actually good news. And one of the contributing factors of that working capital not only is money that we've gotten from the federal government, but the additional funding that we've gotten from the city of Birmingham. The city of Birmingham used to pay us $10 million a year, and now they're paying us $14 million a year. So that's a 40% increase, so that's pretty strong. And I attribute that to relationships, because everything is built on relationships, and actually the belief that the city has in this leadership and the relationship they have with this leadership to actually fund grants at that level. So I think that's great news and a good position. The next page, if you would turn to that, is a schedule of the bank balances. And again, in our industry and in our discipline, cash is king. Without cash, you can't operate. And most businesses, again, fail or can't even start businesses because they don't have the capital or the money to pay for things and pay employees before they actually start earning revenue. This schedule just shows through the months October through December, the inflows and outflows of cash over that period of time. And it shows that we have right now in the bank 11.6, well, we had at December, let me correct that, at December we had $11.6 million in the bank, which is higher than any other point in December since I've been here. Now, every organization has its ebbs and flows of cash, and we do too. So at December, that's normally the lowest position that we find in cash because we're waiting on ad valorem taxes to get to us in the month of January. I'm happy to report that in January, maybe early February, we got another $9 million in the bank in addition to that from ad valorem taxes, which is higher than we budgeted and higher than we anticipated by almost $1 million. So that's also good news. Next page is, I think, our balance sheet. And this balance sheet primarily just shows the assets and liabilities of the organization. One thing I'll point out here, and I just mentioned this, so I won't stay here long, but if you look at the very top line, over December 24, you see $11.2 million cash and cash equivalents. If you look at last year's amount, $8.9 million, pretty high, but we've increased our cash by over $2 million during that year. So another good sign, another good trend. And what we do in finance, you know, anybody can be a one-trick pony, but over time, you kind of see what the real deal is. So you can see trends, and we always look at trends and try to study trends and know what the trend is telling us. So that's another good trend there. Okay, let's flip over to the next page. And let's see the next one. And this is what we call the traditional income statement in government accounting. It has this fancy name of revenues, expenditures, and blah, blah, blah. But this is basically the income statement shows the revenues that we get in and how we spend those revenues. It starts with operating revenues driven by passenger fares, and then you look at operating expenses, and then, of course, you come with an operating income deficit. And most transit organizations really run a deficit because without the support of the federal government and other monies coming to the organization, they couldn't pay the bills. So that's not abnormal. One thing I'll start at the top, our passenger fares for the first quarter was $286,000. We had anticipated $500,000. We were pretty aggressive, and I take responsibility for that. We were pretty aggressive in trying to budget passenger fares this year, anticipating that we would have microtransit fully running by this time. Of course, that didn't happen, so that sort of put a little damper on that. But we were, if you don't set the target high, you don't hit it. So we're under there. It's not, I'm not surprised by that, but we'll keep, once microtransit kicks in, and if it kicks in at the rate that we think it may and believe it will, that trend may turn around pretty soon. But one good thing here, if you look down at operating expenses, if you see the first quarter, we spent $9.5 million. We budgeted, if we took our budget and actually put it on the basis of how we would allocate that over 3 months. Our total budget was $41.5 million, but over 3 months, it would have come in about 10.8. So we're spending less than the budget. There are a few departments that may be over, but overall, we're under the budget by almost $1.4 million. So another good trend, shows good budget management on behalf of the different divisions that report. And whenever somebody is trending in a negative way, we call them in, we see it quickly, we call them in and make corrective actions and find out what we need to do to change that trend. Now, we will be presenting to you some budget modifications probably in the next couple of months where we've seen enough trends and seen that we need to go in now and shift the budget in some different ways so that we can stay up to, I guess, be current as far as our real projections are. So we'll be presenting that to you probably in the month of May. Further on down the page, you see non-operating revenues. They're trending right at what we budgeted. We got 9.7 in. We budgeted, if you put that total budget on a 3-month basis, it'll be 9.6. So that's pretty much right on target. I actually think we're going to exceed that in the coming months, actually. And then capital contributions and expenditures. We've got capital contributions and earned capital contributions of about $2.7 million. We're not spending capital at the level that we budgeted. If we had, we have gotten in about $4.5 million. And capital, federal contributions, as we spend capital, it actually gives us the ability to draw that money back down from the federal government to the tune of about 80%. So because we're not spending as much, we're not drawing as much, and those two things offset each other. And so you see that we're 2.6, we gotten 2.6 in from the government. Had we been spending on that level, we would have gotten 4.5. But the offset of that, if you look on the capital expenditures a line down, you see that we spent $2.3 million in capital. Had we been spending the $17.5 million that we put in the budget, we would have spent 4.3. Now those trends may correct themselves as time goes on. It has a lot to do with the capital projects, how much they're moving, and how we get those projects back on schedule, or back on the schedule we had. To be honest, we're probably pretty aggressive in budgeting for $17 million, and unless this O&M facility really kicks off, we may not spend $17 million this year. And I think that may be the last schedule in here. There's one more page. Okay, this final page, just one thing on here. That page, this page is exactly like the other page. The previous page, we had the ability to compare revenues and expenditures to the budget. This compares it to previous years. And I'll just go down to one number on this page. On the far left column, third number from the bottom, you see $1,825,000. That's considered the bottom line through December. So through December, our excess of revenues over expenditures is $1.8 million, which is another positive measurement. So that concludes the review of the financial statements. Are there any questions on those? We'll move to the next topic. No questions there. A couple of other things I want to point out and highlight is the union contract. So every 3 years, the union, we negotiate a new union contract with the contract personnel, which primarily consists of bus drivers and mechanics. And we had a win-win situation with that negotiation. Classic Honor was here, and I think she left pretty happy, and management did too. So whenever you have a negotiation and both sides leave the table feeling like they had accomplished something, I think that's a win-win situation. So kudos to everybody who participated in there. In addition to Classic Honor, I want to point out William Taylor, who spoke to you earlier about maintenance. He played a big role in making that successful, and Stanley Lacey, who you heard from earlier too. Both of those people, as well as many others, I shouldn't call names because I'm sure I left somebody out who played a pivotal role in that. But I will mention our CEO, Charlotte Shaw. Can't miss her name. Anybody else I might have missed? Kevin.
Glenn Dickerson.
I was just there, you know. I was just along for the ride. But Chief.
You also have a 4-year contract now, right?
Yeah, right. You're getting ahead of me, Director. If you don't keep up, she'll take it. But But yeah, we have a 4-year contract now. We've been having 3-year contracts, and I think the positives that I see in this, and I point these out, we have a 4-year contract now instead of 3, so that extends us another year. But the biggest thing, I think, was that in the negotiations, there are performance standards in there, where we just didn't give money, where we said we built increases based on performance standards, getting certifications, and things of that nature that encourages people to do a good job and do a better job. So that's in there. I think it was a reasonable contract where both parties came out with something to be happy about and an advantage. So with that said, we're looking forward to getting it signed and executing this contract. And I think that maybe, I didn't point this out when I was talking about the new staff and our end on the new staff. I think the new staff will make some tremendous changes in the financial information that we get. Sometimes finance is sort of under the hood where you don't really see it. You got to lift the hood to look at it. Other things are shiny and bright, but finance sometimes can take a back seat. You don't really know what's going on until it goes wrong. And I'm happy to have the staff, fully staffed. I think they're committed. And will put us in a position of doing deeper dives and things that we've not been able to do, doing what-if scenarios, scenario planning, better budgeting tools. I think they would do. I think we do a good job of budgeting, but it could be more automated. It could be better information, more timely. And I think with all those things, with the staff running fully staffed now, I think we'll be able to do some of those things, and hopefully those things we can present to the board and present to executive management so decisions can be made more timely, and actually you can see, may be able to see the results of decisions you make before you make those decisions final. So that concludes my presentation today, and any questions on any of that?
I don't have any questions, but I was a couple things. One, congratulations on getting your staff, because I know that's something you've been working on for several years now, making sure you have a full staff and consistent staff. And two, I'm always in favor of being able to look up under that hood. I 100% agree with you. We should never wait until we're in trouble to understand what's going on. We should always have our finger on the pulse, so to speak, especially from a financial standpoint, because again, that'd be the quickest thing to shut us down. So whenever you never hear an argument from me, and I'm sure probably from the rest of my board members, of being able to look up under that hood to make sure we understand the financials. And great job, last thing, great job on that audit, going from 3 to 4 years, not audit, but the union negotiations and contract, going from 3 to 4 years. I'm sure, I don't ever want to be a part of those negotiations. So again, great job, and I know it took a lot of effort, a lot of work, and congratulations. So, anything else from any of my fellow board members?
I'd just like to add my congratulations as well to for your presentation. Excellent job. And actually, all the presentations today have been excellent. So thank you all.
Amen. That being said, if there's nothing else, that was for informational purposes only. All right. Thank you all for everything. Thank you.
I did want you all to see a video.
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah.
History buff, if you have time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we queue up the Black History, new bus that's been launched. And we'll have this on the website too, with videos from each of the honorees for this year.
As many of you may know, every February we celebrate Black History Month by transforming 1,000 buses into a moving tribute to African American excellence. And this year, we take this to a whole level, and I can't wait to show you what we can bring. I want to remind you why this is so important. Birmingham has more than just a rich history. We have a vibrant present and a bright future shaped by the diverse voices and talents right here in our community. The bus behind me isn't just a vehicle. It's not just a mode of transportation. It's a symbol of our city's journey, our progress, and our commitment to honor those who continue to pave the way for each and every one of us. Jr., Carmen Mays, Ricky Smiley, Roy Wood Jr., Dr. Adrian Stark, Bobby Knott, and the late legendary Willie Mays for this year's bus. As this bus travels through Jefferson County, it will serve as a mobile museum, educating and inspiring everyone who sees it. It's a reminder that Birmingham has more stories to tell, more history to honor, and more progress to make. And remember, Birmingham has so much more to offer, and Max Transit is proud to be a part of sharing that message. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you out on the roads.
And we're working on getting some label mics and getting better editing material, but I also want to mention, before you all leave, you needed to know this, Amanda and Trey have been asked to come to APTA for our marketing program and our bus routes.
There we
So
go.
they're gonna be on that.
Thank you for sharing. That's a great job. Congratulations.
I don't know if you've seen the one with my Pastor Mike, but we'll play that for you next time. He actually did a video for his latest new single that got a BET nomination. And so they used our bus. It's in our bus facility.
Fantastic. Great job. Amanda did a great job as well, so good job. All right. Thank you all.
I'm gonna put that.